In today's video, we're going to answer the question, is college worth it? Hi everyone, my name is Helen. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to answer the question, is college worth it? So let's just get right into it. The first point when it comes to whether or not college is worth it is actually the return on investment. So the return on investment for a college degree is not always going to be positive. In fact, about 1 in 5 degrees have a negative return on investment, which means that you actually lose money for that degree, which obviously that's not what you expect when you go to college. When you go to college, you expect that when you get out of college, you'll get a job that pays enough that you'll get some kind of return on that investment that you've put in. The problem is that depending on the degree that you've chosen and also depending on the school that you've chosen, you may not see that return on your investment. Now, generally speaking, when it comes to a degree in college, if you choose a degree like engineering, or maybe you choose some kind of degree in, let's say you want to be in med school or you're looking at being a lawyer, those will generally have some kind of return on your investment. In some cases, you'll have a lot of return on your investment, sometimes not, but it really depends on the degree that you get. So that's one thing to take into consideration. The other factor that impacts the return on your investment is what college do you attend. If you go to an expensive college, you can expect that you're less likely to make back that money. So as a general rule, if you do want to go to college and you're looking at maybe getting a degree that you're not sure if it's going to have a high return on your investment, the first thing you need to consider is, do you have options that are lower cost? So can you start with community college for a couple of years and then move into a 4-year program? And the other factor you may want to consider is going to maybe a state school or a lower cost school when compared to going to, let's say, an Ivy League school. So those are some factors that may impact your return on your investment. The second consideration when it comes to whether or not college is worth it is the dropout rate. Now, when it comes to college degrees, around 40% of students drop out of college. That means that those students, despite taking student loans, they're still on the hook for that even though they haven't gotten a degree. Now, of course, some of those students do go back to college and they do get a degree later, but that does not account for the majority of them. Generally speaking, around 32.9 or almost 33% of students drop out of college and they do not return to college. So they never get back a degree for that. So of course, if you drop out of college, you're not getting that degree and you're still on the hook for the cost of that. Obviously, you're not going to get a return on that investment because you don't have the degree. So that's one thing that you want to consider, is if you are not sure whether or not you're going to complete a degree, or if you're looking at a degree program and you are thinking, maybe I don't need that degree, then you should maybe take a break, take a step back, and really consider, do you even need a degree for the plans that you've made? And if you don't need a degree, if it's something that doesn't require a college degree, let's say you want to be an electrician or you want to be a plumber and trade school is a better option for you, then you should maybe consider taking a different path than going to college. The third factor to consider when you're looking at whether or not college is worth it is going to be whether or not that degree is going to be useful to you. Are you learning useful skills? Are you getting a poor education or a quality education? These are factors to consider, so you need to consider every single detail when it comes to college degrees and whether or not you want to pursue that. Now, generally speaking, for most people, it is not necessary to get a college degree. And in fact, unless you're planning to go into something like engineering, computer science, medical fields, or something similar to that effect, generally speaking, you don't actually need a degree. You can do a lot of other jobs without a degree, and for the most part, it's not going to give you what you need to go to college. Now, when my husband and I went to college, there were a lot of classes that we had to pay for and we were required to attend that really didn't make any sense. It was that type of education where they're like, oh, this is general education. Everybody needs to take this to get a degree. But the problem with those classes is that for the most part, they're very useless information. They don't teach you anything useful for whatever you're pursuing. So my husband was pursuing a finance degree. It really didn't make sense for him to have to take a music appreciation class or an art appreciation class. those are completely useless degrees for the career he was pursuing. Or in my case, I was studying for psychology, and it really didn't make sense for me to take those classes either. There were several classes where we were like, why are we taking these general education classes that aren't building up any useful skills for the career that we're aiming toward? So you do have to consider, if you think that your career field where you're aiming for does not require a degree, it might be better to just wait on getting a college degree and see if you actually need it in the future. The fourth consideration is whether or not you have plans already. Now, if you're in a situation where it's basically college or nothing, then in that situation, maybe you should pursue college. The situation where you don't have any other plans, you're not sure where you want to go, and you're kind of a little bit confused on what type of steps to take, then college is a good option for you in that situation because it gives you a little bit of exposure to different fields and helps you clarify where you want to go. And if you know that you want to pursue something that does require a college degree, like computer science or engineering, then of course you should go to college in that situation. But if you have other plans, let's say you are thinking of attending trade school, or maybe you have plans to start a business, or you have some other path that you're trying to pursue, then don't go to college and don't waste your money and don't waste your time. It's not worth it in those situations where you already have a different career path in mind. My final point when it comes to whether or not college is worth it is that you do have time. So if you're confused about whether or not to pursue a college degree, you're not really sure where you want to go, maybe you want to take a break from school after high school and really just think about your options, well, college will still be there. You have the option to return to college or go to college later if you're not sure where you want to go. If you want to explore different opportunities, maybe you want to try being an electrician, or maybe you want to try working in some other field, or maybe you're not sure about college and if that's right for you, then wait. You have the option to wait on getting a college degree until you're sure that's the right path for what you're trying to pursue. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind is that college will always be there. You will have the option to go to college later if you aren't sure what path you want to take. And since college is so expensive, in a general sense, I would say don't go to college until you're certain where you want to go with your life. What kind of career do you want to pursue? If you're looking at pursuing a career that doesn't require a college degree, then you don't need a college degree. But if you're looking at pursuing a job that does require a degree, then maybe that's something you can do in the future. College will still be there if you want to take your time and think about your options. So do keep in mind that whether you're looking at whether college is worth it or not, it's really a matter of what you want to do with your life and where your goals are. If you have goals or other things you want to pursue, well, you can always wait on college. You can always set that aside, try to pursue, let's say, starting a business. And if it doesn't work out, or if you're not sure if you're going to continue that, you can always go to college at a later date. It will still be there and it's still an option for you if you decide you do need that degree in the future. That's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.